Okay, hey guys, so today we're doing my labor story and I'm just chilling on my bed. I didn't want to sit up and get all ready. So I'm gonna be just doing it while my baby is sleeping in my arms and my double chin showing and everything. So here we go. So my due date was July 31st or August 1st. And she was late because she was born on the 5th. And if she waited another week, they were going to have to induce me. And I didn't want that, so I was walking on my mom's treadmill and stuff. And during the day, I was walking all around my neighborhood, going up and down this hill we have. And then I was walking on the treadmill, bouncing on the workout balls. And then in the night, I was laying down, almost getting cramps. I just thought they were cramps because I didn't know they were contractions. So I was waiting for another one and more were coming closer together and I was like, whoa, this is weird. So I went out to tell my mom because she was in the living room and this was around 11 in the night. I was like, I think I'm ready. These hurt really bad. And I was getting scared because I was like, oh my God, I've never had this pain before because on my periods, I only have pain for the first day and the second day maybe max. But I'm never really in pain. And then, so I told her, and then she's like, well, just track it. And I got this little tracker, this app tracker for contractions. So every time you get one, you press it and it times it. And then you click it again when your contractions stop. And then it shows how far apart they are. And then it'll tell you too, oh, I think it's time for you to go to the hospital. Because it kept telling me that, but I didn't want to go yet. Because with COVID, your mom or whoever you have going with you can't go in until put you in a room and stuff. So I wanted to go right when I was about to give birth because I was like, I want my mom in there ASAP with me. I know if I'm in there by myself, I'm gonna start freaking out because I'm in the hospital, even though I'm not in the hospital for I'm sick or something, I'm having a baby. But I knew that if I was in there longer, that by myself, that I would freak out. So I was like, I need my mom in here ASAP. And so the first time when we went to the hospital, it was around maybe 12. And then we went over there and then they sent me back and I was like, bruh. And the nurse was being hella rude, pretty much saying suck it up. And I was about to knock her out because I just felt like she wasn't being nice and I was in pain, and she was just like, oh yeah, it's normal. And I'm like, yeah, but I need medicine or something. And then anyways, they were so I was 2 centimeters and they were like, yeah, so we recommend you going home and I don't know, to be to get more in labor but at your house and stuff. And I was like I want to stay here, and then they were like, if they keep hurting then you can come back. So I went home, then I went back at 3 because I was like, no, this is ridiculous, this hurts, I can't deal with it. So we went back and they're like, oh, you're back. And I'm like, well, you guys knew I was in pain, I should have just stayed here. And then she was being all nice and she was like, okay, so if you want to stay here, we'll put you in a room, we'll get you on some pain meds. And I was like, bruh, I could have stayed here and you guys could have gave me pain meds a long time ago. So I was mad about that. And then so then they put me in my room and then they're like, okay, once we get the monitor set up and everything, then we'll tell you when you can have your mom come in. And I was like, okay, scared because they were getting worse and they hurt, So then they were connecting me to the IVs and stuff. And then they were like, oh, you can have your mom come in. And I was like, okay. So I texted my mom hey, run in here now. And then my mom came in here and we were just chilling, I was in pain. And they're like, oh, we can give you pain medicine. And I was like, oh yeah, I need it now. And it only lasts 30 minutes, honestly. Maybe it's longer, but to me it felt like it was only working for 2 minutes. But when you get put on pain medicine, they have to ask the midwife and the midwife has to okay it, and then they request it and then they get the medicine and then give it to you. And that process seems like it's taking forever because you're in pain. So I would tell her, like, right when I already started feeling the pain medicine, like, hey, like, I already request another one because I'm gonna need another one right now. Because if not, I was getting shaky, like, and I had, like, this ugly feeling, like, when you're cold and you're, like, and you can't, like, stop shaking and stuff, and it's super uncomfortable because you're so tight. That's how it was for me without the medicine. And when I had it, I could, like, relax for a little bit. Like, still feel the contractions, but they were, like, tolerable. And then they're like, oh, so you're at the point now where you could get the epidural. I was like, give me it now, like right now. So they're like, okay, we'll go ask the doctor and tell them that you want to get the epidural, because I wanted to hack it as long as I could so I can be one of those cool girls that are like, I did it with no epidural and blah blah blah. And me, I tried and I was like, give me drugs and now, please. This hurts. And so they went to go get the guy that does the epidural, and he is like a freaking bomb. Like, I want to literally write him a thank you letter, because I know some women it doesn't work on them, and for me it worked wonders. Like, I was in shock of how that made you feel. And I didn't have to get it twice or nothing, only one time. I was scared because they told me, like, oh, when you're about to give birth, it might fade away and, like, you'll feel the pain. And I was, like, scared. I was like, don't tell me that. Like, now I'm scared. So this other lady was in labor too. So my doctor was working with her and me at the same time, and we're literally, like, at the same spot in labor. So when she needed the epidural, I needed it too. And I think she was obviously there first, I think, because they gave it to her. And they're like, okay, well, he's putting the epidural in the other lady in the other room. And I was like, pull him out. I need it. Like, I'm over here being all selfish and stuff. I was like, really? Like, oh my God. Like, it felt like it was taking forever. They're like, it's okay. He's almost gonna come, because I was in pain. And then he gets there with this old lady that helps him. He's old too. And so he's like, okay, he was explaining the process to me. He's like, it's only gonna take 10 minutes, you know. And I was like, okay. And I was having really bad contractions, and he was just explaining it to me. The old lady was holding my hand, and at that point I didn't even wear my mask, because you're supposed to wear it every time they come in. And I was like, bruh, I know. And also, before my mom went in, they actually did the test, the COVID test, and I accidentally almost, like, punched the lady. It was funny because she's a lefty, and then I asked her if I can hold her hand, because my mom wasn't in there at the time, and I was like, I want to hold someone's hand, you know? And she's like, I don't know how we're gonna do this, but we'll figure it out. So she still held my hand like she was a real one, and then did the test. And I accidentally, like, pushed her back, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry. She's like, it's okay, I got it still. I was like, okay, good. I was like, that was just super uncomfortable. I was like, that's done. Like, I pushed her back, but she was super nice. And so while that guy was in there, they put the table up because you lean on it. It was like the one where they put your food on and stuff, and they can raise it up. So they did that, and then, like, I laid on it, and I was holding the old lady's hand and, like, breathing, because I was getting contractions. So I was breathing, like, watching my breathing, because everyone would tell me, like, just count your breathing and focus on your breathing. If not, you're gonna, like, freak out, which is true. Like, right when I stopped counting or something, like, I was, like, going cross-eyed, like, oh my, someone help me. Like, I, like, wanted to throw up almost because it was bad. And my mom said I didn't even reach, like, the bad point. And I was like, bruh, I could not imagine if I would have waited. Like, I would have been super rude. And I was trying not to be rude to my mom, you know? So I was, like, chilling out. Like, I would tell her, like, don't talk to me, don't touch me. Like, I told her before. I told her that before I went to labor. Like, if I ask you something, then come, you know? But, like, if I'm in pain, like, don't talk to me, don't touch me. Like, I don't want to be rude. I'm just saying, like, beforehand, so I'm not, like, yelling at you, like, don't talk to me, you know? But, yeah, so when they were putting the epidural in, I don't know why a lot of people said that the epidural hurts. I think I just didn't feel it because I was already in pain with my contraction that I was having while they were putting it in. But you just lean forward and then um, they numb you before they put the needle in, because I guess like that needle or whatever is super big. But I don't know because it's in my bag. I didn't see. And I was gonna record my labor, but I was like, no, I can't have people see me in this pain. Like, no, because I thought I was gonna last the whole thing without any pain meds. Thinking all crazy. They give you a shot in your back to numb it before they put the epidural in, and then it's a really quick process. I'm so thankful that I did it. And then they put the epidural in, and the only thing you can feel is the medicine, like if it going down your spine, like it's so cold, the medicine, while because it's kind of like the IV you have but in your back, so you can feel the medicine going into your system. So that part felt really nasty. It was kind of like when you touch something that's so hot that it's like cold. That's how it felt like going down my back. But I was so thankful for it. In like 20 minutes or maybe 10, maybe 5, I honestly don't know. All my pain went away, like all of it completely. Like my legs went numb. Like I was thankful. And then I could finally rest. So after everything was numb, they're like, well, rest up because you're gonna have a long day in the morning, pushing and stuff, because you don't feel cramps and stuff, so you don't know like when to push and stuff. They're pretty much telling you because they just were telling me like, oh, you're getting a contraction now, because they can see it on the computer. They're like, oh, you're getting one now, so push or whatever. And I was like all numb and everything. And they're like, okay, go to sleep, rest. And so me and my mom were just sleeping. I was texting people, but I didn't want to tell people I got the epidural because I didn't want to jinx it and then it not work. So I was like, I'm gonna just tell people after like I give birth that I got the epidural. And so I was just sleeping. My mom was sleeping. I was on my phone playing games and stuff. And my mom was just looking at me like, oh my God, I can't believe like that worked for her, because it didn't work for her. And I was just so thankful. Like I kept thanking God the whole time. Like, oh my God, thank you. Like it seriously, like I can't feel nothing. Like it was gonna get worse. And I caught it in time. So I was just waiting and waiting. It felt like forever, but as long as I wasn't in pain, I was super thankful. And then the only sucky thing is that since you don't feel your contractions, you don't get them as much because of the medicine. So then they had to give me medicine so I can start getting cramps, like to give birth. And then they checked me again, and usually they don't like to check you a lot because you can get like not an infection but bacteria, just because you're getting like all this air up in there and all that with their fingers. So I didn't want that because my grandma, her little baby passed away like the next day because of infection that he caught coming out of the womb, which could have been that one probably. But they tested me for it so they can have medicine ready if I did come out positive with that certain infection. It's kind of like what is it? I used to know what it was called. It's strep throat, but down there. That's a disease that it is. And you get that when like you have like germs, or like when they keep touching you in there, like checking how far you are because your cervix or whatever is like open. I think that's what it's called. And getting bacteria in there. So that's why they try not to check you as much. And I think maybe that's what my grandma got. That's why I really wanted to get checked too, because I was super scared for that. Like I couldn't even be happy my whole pregnancy because I was like, I don't want that to happen. And it was crazy too because her due date was July 31st and August 1st, and that was my grandma's baby that passed away. He was born on the 31st and died on the 1st. So I was just super overthinking, and I was like scared. And if she was a little boy, I was gonna name her, and born on that day, I was gonna name her after he would have been my uncle. But yeah, so they didn't want to check me a lot down there, but then when they did, they're like, "Oh, you're ready. Do you want to break your water or whatever?" And I was like, "Is it gonna hurt?" And they're like, "Well, you don't feel this, right?" Because they had their hand in there checking, and I was like, "Oh no." And they're like, "Okay, yeah." So she pops it, and my mom said like she's seen like all my fluid and stuff. I still had to wait a little longer because I wasn't getting contractions closer, so they had to kick up that medicine to make me get them faster. And they're like, "Oh, the epidural might fade away with this medicine." And I was like, "Oh my god, no." But it didn't, thank god. So then I started getting them closer and closer, and I didn't feel nothing. Like, they literally had to lift up my legs because I couldn't lift them up myself because I had no feeling. And then they were telling me like, "Oh, you're getting a contraction now, like let's see if you push." And they're like, "Oh yeah, you're ready, like that she's starting to come down." And they're like, "You need to wait a little longer. When it feels like you need to poop, then call us, like let us know." And I was like, "Okay." And then the other girl in the other room was delivering the same time I was, so my doctor was in her room. And I was like, "Oh my god, she's coming." I'm like, "Mom, like if there's no doctor," because they're like, "Oh well, your midwife is with the other lady." And I was like, "Well, I'm about to give birth too." I was like, "Mom, you need to be ready because if I'm pushing, you need to catch, because I'm not gonna be able to stop it, because you feel like you can't stop it, like it's just like pushing like itself out." So I was super scared. I was like, "Oh my god," because my midwife was with her, with the other lady, and then the doctor from the hospital came in for a little bit, like to watch the nurses, like as they were telling me, "Okay, push." And she was there, and then she had to leave because there was an emergency at the emergency room, so she had to go over there. And my midwife still wasn't there yet, and I was like, "Oh my god." And then so my nurses pretty much delivered me almost. The lady, my midwife, came in like pretty much like almost when I was like she was about to come out. And when they seen her head, they're like, "Oh, do you want to feel it?" I was like, "Ew, no." Because I was like, "What the heck?" And my mom was watching everything, and she was just like, "Oh my god, that's crazy." So then I kept pushing, and they were telling me like, "Okay, you're getting a contraction, let's push now." So I was there pushing like hecka hard and not even feeling nothing. They're like, "You're doing good, you're doing good." And I'm like, because I wasn't feeling anything. And then the baby started coming out more, and they're like, "Hey, stop, stop." And I was still pushing like a loca, and they're like, "No, stop." So I ended up ripping. And then I ended up ripping, and then the baby came out, and they're like, "Look." And I was so shy, like I was like, "No, no, no, not yet." And they're like, "She's here." And then I started hearing her cry, and then I was crying, like ugly crying. And then I couldn't feel anything still, and then like your stomach literally just goes down. It's so weird. And then she had to sew me up, so I still had epidural, and I couldn't feel the stitches. She's like, "Oh, can you feel this?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "Oh, okay." So she's there like knitting. And then I was like, "Oh my god." And then they're like, "Okay, we're gonna take the epidural out now that she's done." And also as I was getting the stitches and stuff, they were pressing on my stomach. That is the worst. I could still feel a little pressure when they did that, but it wasn't painful, but it still was uncomfortable. So they were pushing on my stomach, and then she was sewing. And then they're like, "Okay, we're gonna take out the epidural." So then they were like, "Okay, we're gonna take out the epidural," and I was like, "No," And then after that, dude, I felt like my stitches, like I swear, down there felt like huge. It was disgusting. It hurt. I couldn't even walk after that. And then I lost a lot of blood, so I lost a lot of iron. So I was super weak, and like I remember the midwife coming in just to talk to me about my appointments, and I was like, like snoring. And like I had my baby in my hands. And she's like, yeah, so we're gonna get you some iron medicine and put it in the IV because you're really low. And I was like, And so they ended up putting the iron in, but it took super long because I had to get it before I left the hospital. And it takes like 2 hours for the whole bag to go into your system. And it took forever for them to even get the bag of iron. And then every time they came to check on the baby, she was laying in my arms. And they were like, oh, do you want me to put her in her crib? Because you're sleeping and you could drop her. I was like, no, I won't drop her. And they're like, oh, okay, we're just making sure. And we were both sleeping. And it was funny because right when she came out, she sneezed. And then they put her on my chest for like mommy and me time, skin to skin. And she was all on my chest, like trying to find my boob. It was so cute and funny. And I was just like, oh my god, so yeah, my birth experience was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't bad, but the only thing that sucked was that other lady was giving birth at the same time, so it slowed my labor down. And it was just such a crazy feeling. It's such a crazy feeling right when they come out and they put them on your chest. You're just like, what? How? It was so weird and crazy. I was crying. My mom was crying. And that happened at like 2:44. She was born at 2:44. She was 8 pounds, 15 ounces, so almost 9 pounds. She was a pretty big baby. So that's why I ribbed. And then I was like, that's my baby. And she looks like an Irene, so I'm naming her Irene Reina. Because I was either going to choose Irene Reina or Reina Irene. And Reina is my mom's name. And so Reina Irene or Irene Reina. And both of those sound pretty good. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to wait to see how she looks and name her. And I was like, she looks like an Irene. And that's what stuck. So her name's Irene Reina. If you guys are wondering where I got her name and why it's like old school, is because it's from an old school movie called Mi Familia. If you guys know me, you know that that's my favorite movie. I love that movie. My dad showed us that movie, and after and the sister's name is Irene, and I like the way the dad says it when he calls her name. I love the way it sounds like old school. So that's where I got her name from, and Reina is my mom's name. And I was like, cause my pregnancy wasn't like the best, cause I was always sick. So I was like, I don't know if I even want more kids. I don't even know if that's even an option in my book anymore, because I don't like this feeling and I don't want to do it again. I don't want to put myself in that position again, because I was so sick. But now it's like worth it. I was like, maybe in like 5 more years I can do it again or something, but not right now. So I told Joey, I was like, I need to name her Reina, because if this is my only daughter, I want her to be named after my mom. But yeah, so that's my labor story. I don't think I forgot anything. That was pretty much how it all went. But yeah, my recovery is still going down. Like, I looked pregnant when I left the hospital. I mean, my stomach went down a little bit because my stomach was all the way out here, like further out than my boobs. And then I still had like a little pancita when I left, but now it's not so bad. I just have some ugly stretch marks, like super bad. But it made my beautiful baby. Look at her. She's just so freaking cute. And no, Joey couldn't be there. He is deployed right now. So, and he's in Australia, so like the time difference is like whack. I don't know, I think it's like 15, 16 hours ahead of us. So when it was time for her, when she was born, I called him, and he doesn't have like good Wi-Fi, so it kind of sucked. So he was like, oh, just send me pictures. So I was like, oh. But no, he wasn't able to watch like the birth all happen. I just FaceTimed him right when she was out. And I let my mom cut the umbilical cord because she was in there. So I was like, Oh, you can cut it. Because usually the dads cut it, but I was like, oh, her dad's not here, so my mom's in there, I'll let her cut it. And I'll put my pictures of how my placenta looked, and the veins are crazy. I don't know if you guys would want to see that, but it looks crazy. Like, your veins are so freaking big. It's just, like, weird. It looks like a tree with roots. It's crazy. And, yeah, he wasn't able to be there or come because in the military, having a baby isn't, like, important to them because I don't know why, but they won't get time off and stuff to see them be born if they're deployed. So we're waiting on him to come home now. And I'm gonna try to do another video of when they first meet, and just to see Joey's reaction, you know, because he thinks he's not gonna cry, but something's telling me he's gonna cry, but who knows. I don't even know. I don't even think he might, but it's when he sees her, I don't know how he's gonna feel because he's just seen her in pictures and he's gonna see her in real life and get to hold her, and it's literally his twin. It's rude, but it's true. Like, she looks exactly like Joey. My mom calls her Joja because Joey, and she calls Joey Jojo, so she calls her Joja. I'm like, bro, don't even give her that nickname. She's such like a blessing to us. Like, it's so crazy. I can't even imagine not having her anymore. Like I needed her in my life. Time she's sleeping, like, she sleeps with me in my bed. No, I'm not gonna roll on her. I'm not that heavy sleeper. Like, once I hear her like fuss, I wake up automatically, and I'm just like, oh my god, what does she need, you know? So like, I'm always on the ball. And then when I put her in her little bassinet, like, when I wake up and I look at her, I'm like, oh, I miss her now. Like, let me bother her and wake her up just so she can look at me. But yeah, so I can't wait for Joey to meet her, and that's my birth story, my labor story. If you guys have any more questions, drop them in the comment section, and in another video I'll answer them. If I missed anything in here, I don't think I did, but yeah. And being pregnant is all fun and games until you think about having to give birth, because I was like, oh my god, mom, I'm scared, mom. Like, when every time it was getting closer, I was like, she can come any day now. Like, I'm scared, mom. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm so scared. Like, I was super scared. And then I was like, and there's no other way she can come out. I'm like, can I throw it up? Like, what can I do? Like, I don't want to give birth. I was super scared. Also, to end this video, if you're thinking about having a baby, don't do it. I'm not saying having a baby ruins your life. That's literally not the case. It's like, makes your life better. But I'm just saying, due to COVID, you're literally alone. And that is the worst feeling, especially when you're pregnant. Like, I wanted my mom to come with me to my appointments, and she couldn't. And it just sucked. Like, I wanted my mom there, you know, because I'm still young, you know, I still need my mom. And I was like, I want her to be in there with me and stuff like that. And it's not possible because your mom can't go in, but everyone can go eat at restaurants, which is stupid. Like, I wanted my mom in there so bad. Like, I could literally throw a tantrum, but they wouldn't do nothing, you know? Baby, wait until all this is over, because you'll be way happier. You'll be able to celebrate baby showers, baptisms, and everything. I didn't get to do a baby shower for her, but all my family members came to my house to give me gifts and stuff. So I didn't really have to buy much, but it sucked because I lived in 29 and I couldn't wait to come home to have a baby shower and stuff like that. I was excited. So I would wait if I were you guys. All this was gonna happen because quarantine wasn't even a thing when I first got pregnant. Like, in the beginning, like, this wasn't a thing, so I was like, oh my, excited, planning my baby shower. And so yeah, that super sucks. And it sucks when you want your mom and they can't be there, because obviously you're gonna want your mom. Like, I even told Joey, like, dude, even if you were here, I wouldn't even want you in the room. Like, I need my mom. Like, she knows what to do. You don't. I don't. If both of us don't know what to do, like, we're gonna be, like, stuck, you know? I was like, I need my mom there. And my mom was kind of getting anxiety because she didn't know if she was going to be able to be there for me Because I told her, I was like, you better not be crying if I'm crying because I'm in pain. Because I was like, if you're crying, I'm going to cry because I'm going to think I need to take care of you. Because I don't like seeing my mom cry. So I was like, you can't be crying in there. Like, you need to be strong for me. Because if you're weak, I'm going to be weak. So you need to be strong so I can be strong. But yeah, wait to have your babies after all this. Because even now it's scary. Like, my family members, some of them, like my mom's side and his side, hasn't seen her or held her. So it's super sad, you know? And I don't want to live in fear either. Because I'm just like, well, I want people to meet her. Like, I mean, if no one's going out, they should be able to meet her. But then I'm like thinking, like, then if she gets sick, it's my fault because I'm over here taking her places. So I try to limit it. Like, now that since she's almost going to be 2 months, I'm like letting people come see her little by little. And like, my cousin came the other day. Okay, so now I'm gonna wait a couple days and let someone else come see her, you know, but they wear their mask, which still sucks, but at least they get to see her and hold her before we go again, because we might be moving with my husband, her dad, back to 29. Like, I'm still thinking about it because if I go down there, I'm alone. But then I want her to see her dad and have like a father-daughter bond, you know. So I'm still thinking about it. So I don't know for sure if I'm gonna move or what. But I'll keep you guys updated. Thank you so much. Sorry if it sounds like I'm whispering. It's because it's hella late and my parents are sleeping. Anyways, thank you for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Drop down any comments, questions you guys have, any ideas on videos I could do, anything. I'm trying to get famous, so run it up or hurry up. I'm just kidding. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Share my video, like it, subscribe, everything that you do. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you.